What is up? What is up, YouTube? What is up? Check this out, family. This bad boy, just like this. Diddy sues NBC for $1 million on Peacock documentary. That's 2 minutes. And then non-disturbing P. Diddy claims a male exotic dancing lawsuit. Diddy details reveal in traffic case heats up. Nah, look here. Okay, P. Diddy forces inmates to do his dirty work in jail. Oh man, that is 2 months ago. This is where we starting at right here. Check this out, man. Diddy sues NBC for $100 million over Peacock documentary. Let's check this out right here. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Red Horse time. I've been drinking the Red Horse cap ticket. We got it in the freezer, baby. We're going all out tonight. Y'all feel me? We're going all night. We got the fan. I'm gonna turn the fan on so we can really get into it. How'd that happen? Oh, there we go. Trying to get when I'm drunk, yeah. Hey, we got a YouTube course also, man. I'm teaching people. Can you believe that? I'm teaching people. I'm gonna let you know right now. Real talk. If you want to learn how to make money online and make twice as much money as you making right now, I guarantee you I can teach you and show you how to make twice as much money as you making right now all over the world. I'm in the Philippines. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We gonna check this bad boy.
Diddy sues NBC for $100 million over its Peacock documentary about him. According to docs obtained by E! News February 12th, the Bad Boy Records founder filed a lawsuit against NBC Universal seeking $100 million after Peacock, the streaming service owned by the media company, released the documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. In the filing, Combs, who is currently in jail on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, accuses NBC Universal of defamation and alleged that the company maliciously and recklessly broadcast the documentary, which included claims that the rapper committed crimes like serial murder and sexual assault of minors without having a shred of evidence. The filing reads, in making and broadcasting these falsehoods, among others, defendants seek only to capitalize on the public's appetite for scandal without any regard for the truth and at the expense of Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. In particular, Combs alleges that the documentary, released on Peacock on January 14th, implied he killed his ex, Kim Porter, who died in 2018 at age 47.
Oh, no, wait. So Diddy, let's get this straight, yeah. So Diddy gonna ride this wagon all the way to the end. Diddy's gonna ride the wagon all the way to the end and say, I haven't made these claims ain't, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna ride it to the end, right? So let's go ahead and ride it to the end. Here we go.
Defendants seek only to capitalize on the public's appetite for scandal without any regard for the truth and at the expense of Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. In particular, Combs alleges that the documentary, released on Peacock on January 14th, implied he killed his ex, Kim Porter, who died in 2018 at age 47. Kim dated Combs on and off for over a decade before they split in 2007. The lawsuit states the documentary maliciously died in 2018 at age 47. Kim dated Combs on and off for over a decade before.
They almost look like twins. You notice how when people in love and they start dating each other, they start looking alike. My fiance over there, y'all. I sure hope I don't start looking like her. Think I look like her, y'all? What y'all think? That's my boo-boo. I don't want to look like the boo-boo, though. Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Before they split in 2007. The lawsuit states the documentary maliciously accuses Mr. Combs of murdering the love of his life and mother to his children, 𝗟𝗢𝗡 Porter, despite the fact that the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office has confirmed that her death was from natural causes and that there has never been any evidence of foul play. The documentary advances the false narrative that it cannot be a coincidence that Ms. Porter and others in Mr. Combs' orbit have died, in a malicious attempt to insinuate that Mr. Combs murdered them. Kim's cause of death was officially determined in 2019 to be lobar pneumonia, with the manner of death being natural, according to the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner Coroner. E! News reached out to NBC and Peacock for comment on the lawsuit, but has not heard back. Combs' suit against NBC isn't the only legal battle he's facing. The 55-year-old is currently awaiting his May 5th trial over federal charges of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs, who was arrested in September, has pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges. He has also publicly denied the allegations, writing on Instagram in December, "I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." E! News, NBC Universal, and Peacock are all part of the NBC Universal family.
That's crazy, man.
Has pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges. He has also publicly denied the allegations, writing on Instagram in December, "I did not do any of..."
Just because you wrote on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or whatever the hell you like to post your bull at, that don't mean that you didn't do it. Just because you texted, that don't mean you didn't do it, man. What are you talking about? Uncle Mike never started a YouTube channel. Over 400,000 subscribers. I'm gonna put that on my Instagram. I ain't never started no YouTube channel. That's a lie. It wasn't me. Somebody else. Wasn't me. What? The Bama got 120 people that a lawyer took. See, this is the part that people don't understand. The lawyer had 3,000 people to that called the number. Now I know a lot of bullshit come through the number, right? We know that. But this lawyer, professional lawyer, right, Bugsby, now shuffled through all this bull and came up with 120 good ones that he decided that they good. And we're gonna make cases out of. On top of that, you got 5, maybe 10, I don't know, 50, I done lost count, y'all. More people that got different lawyers that got cases, and more cases coming and coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. You mean to tell me all these people that have been drugged, here's my drink, slip something in it, here's something we're gonna slip, Now, Uncle Mike gonna drink it. Then I'm gonna go to my bank account and take all my money out, according to big homie CC. Yeah, man. We don't know this horse tranquilizer stuff. We don't know what it make you do. I can only imagine half the stuff these people going through. Lil Rod, I just want to do music for Puffy, cause he the one in the seat. It ain't like you want to do music for Puffy for real. Ain't like he got talent. Everybody know he ain't got no talent. But the thing that tripped me out is this. Lil Rod said, I ain't with this gay stuff. I'm not with the gay stuff either. My bad, y'all. For all y'all gays out there that's down with it, Uncle Mike just ain't down with it. That's just my bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to defend myself. My boo-boo right here. Look at this. She ain't down with this YouTube stuff, though. She ain't down with the YouTube stuff. But anyway, man, look here. We're gonna get into this other video right here, man. This is 9 disturbing new P. Diddy claims in male exotic dance lawsuits. Oh, the male exotic dance. I like male exotic dancers. I really do. because they get the women hot. They can't take them all home. So I can pick through the crowd and get me one. I shouldn't be saying this, y'all. Hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Here we go.
Complaint. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. A male dancer claims that Sean Combs sex trafficked and abused him for years. In this brand new lawsuit, if you...
For years? This is... Slavery been over with. You telling me for years? He been doing this for years? Man, y'all gotta give me some of this stuff y'all drinking, man. Y'all on that money that hard? Is that what it is? God dang.
If you thought you heard all the allegations against Diddy, wait till you hear what's being claimed now. We are going to do a full breakdown of this complaint. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have another Sean Diddy Combs lawsuit that we're going to be breaking down for you right now. So this one was filed yesterday in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. That is where we have seen a lot of these lawsuits filed against the rapper and music mogul. This is where he's currently facing criminal charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, prostitution charges. And there is something interesting to note about this case, and that is who filed it. Let's start there. So the lawyer representing this plaintiff here is Lisa Bloom. Lisa Bloom is the daughter of famed women's rights attorney Gloria Allred. And Allred is reportedly representing other Sean Combs accusers, including Talia Graves. We've talked about this before here on Sidebar. Graves had sued Sean Combs last year, also in the Southern District. She alleges that back in 2001, at 25 years old, she was lured into the Bad Boy record studio in New York City, was possibly drugged, and then Combs and his bodyguard, she claims, Joseph Sherman, viciously raped her. That's her allegation. And she claims that she has never psychologically recovered from this alleged attack. And by the way, Graves and Allred, they held a press conference when this suit was filed.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault.
But going back to Lisa Bloom here, just an interesting connection there because she is now representing this unnamed John Doe in this new lawsuit against Sean Combs. And in fact, in a statement to USA Today, Lisa Bloom said, "I am very proud to represent my brave client in this new case. We will not rest until we get justice for him." But justice for what? What is he alleging? Okay, let's discuss it. And I warn you right now, this is not an easy one to hear. And by the way, not entirely clear if he's going to be permitted to remain anonymous throughout this case. We've seen this in other cases where Jane Does have had to reveal their identities by the court in actions against Sean Combs, that unless there is a specific, overwhelming reason other than just embarrassment or public scrutiny, that unless the anonymous plaintiff can show they will suffer real harm and there's a real danger, and that this can be documented, what we've seen recently is the court saying the balance of interests are being weighed in favor of having open and transparent proceedings, and a defendant has a right to know who is suing them. So we'll see. Now,
that's facts.
John Doe has filed a lawsuit against Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Books, and other unnamed corporations and people. And we'll talk about the corporate defendants a little bit later, but the lawsuit begins, quote, "Defendant Sean Combs, a prominent entertainment mogul, exploited his power to sexually, physically, and psychologically abuse plaintiff over more than 5 harrowing years. Combs caused plaintiff's life to spiral into a living nightmare." Hey guys, real quick, you might want to listen up to this. So recent allegations against the multi-billion-dollar video game industry claim that video games are engineered for addiction. The claims include trying to make sense of the hold that video games seem to have over people where they just can't put the controller down. Every win triggers that hit of dopamine, and that creates a cycle of compulsion, which disrupts daily life. It harms mental health. But our legal sponsors are taking on the industry that has at many times put profit over safety, and they're working to potentially get compensation for all of those impacted. So if you or a loved one have suffered physical or mental health issues due to video games, then visit vgclaims.com/sidebar to answer less than 10 questions and check your eligibility to file a claim.
You know what I should do? I don't even play video games. I should file a claim and perpetrate and act like video games. Oh, I can't do nothing else but play video games and only video games, just to see if it's all a fraud. That's what I should do. Anyway, here we go.
By the way, as I've said before in other lawsuit breakdowns, even though claims and allegations are similar, we don't know if the plaintiffs, the people suing, like John Doe, will play a role in Combs' criminal trial scheduled for this May. Although there's an overlap, although there's similar allegations, we don't know if they're going to be witnesses in that case. We can maybe take educated guesses, but we don't know for sure. And also with federal cases, we may not know the exact alleged victims or witnesses at that trial until much later, until closer to the trial. So we'll see. And also, let me be clear about something else too. Sean Combs and his attorneys, they have adamantly denied all of the sexual assault and criminal allegations against him. And it appears he is looking forward to his day in court to what he has claimed is to prove his innocence. And remember, he has not been found liable in these lawsuits. He has not been found guilty in connection with the criminal allegations. Currently, he is innocent until proven guilty. And by the way, I'll also tell you, Combs' legal team recently said in a statement, no matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted or sex trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. Fortunately, a fair and impartial judicial process exists to find the truth, and Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail in court. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's continue with the lawsuit. The lawsuit reads, quote, plaintiff was at all...
I mean, with all that bullshit in mind, keep all the bullshit in mind. Bullshit. Red horse and the rest of the bullshit. Here we go. I'm playing with this dog, man. This dog wants some food. That's why I'm eating more food.
And the truth, and Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail in court. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's continue with the lawsuit. The lawsuit reads, quote, bullshit. Plaintiff was at all relevant times a Las Vegas-based entertainer who aspired to become a musician. Knowing that plaintiff desperately sought a breakthrough in the music industry, Combs enticed plaintiff with fraudulent promises of a career in the music industry. Combs used his false promises of career and advancement as weapons, trapping plaintiff in a vortex of exploitation and fear. Combs did not follow through with these promises. Instead, Combs subjected plaintiff to a relentless pattern of drugging, sexual assaults, death threats, clandestine recording, blackmail, and psychological manipulation that far exceeded any bounds of consent or professionalism. So very similar allegations to what is leveled in Combs' criminal indictment and other lawsuits as well. This lawsuit continues, quote, Combs dehumanized plaintiff and reduced him to a mere object for Combs' own amusement and to satisfy his own sexual fetishes. Combs gravely exploited plaintiff, effectively imprisoning him and controlling him through surreptitious surveillance and filming. Combs' recordings were not just blatant invasions of plaintiff's privacy, but he wielded them as tools of blackmail, forcing plaintiff to continuously comply with his perverse sexual demands. Combs covertly drugged plaintiff to strip plaintiff of his ability to resist his sexual demands. Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs' production company, facilitated Combs' calculated abuse and played a significant part in Combs' ruthless scheme to exploit plaintiff. So we'll get to the corporate defendants a little bit later, but the reason this is being filed in federal court in New York is because the plaintiff, John Doe, claims that there are violations of the federal sex trafficking and forced labor statutes, and he claims that a substantial part of the events of this case took place in this district. So now I want to get into the main allegations. Again, trigger warning, this is bad. So John Doe claims that back in 2007, he was recognized as one of the premier performers in the Las Vegas adult entertainment scene, and that he worked with agencies to help book him for different things. And he says both he and his clients, they would use pseudonyms, and he wouldn't know the identity of his clients until meeting up with them. But now he claims that around this time, again 2007, in and around 2007, he was booked to perform a strip show in a hotel room in Las Vegas. And he didn't know until arriving that that day his client would be Sean Combs. And he claims when he showed up, the rapper gave him a full body pat down. John Doe proceeded to dance, he proceeded to strip, and then Combs paid him $1,500. And it must have gone well because according to John Doe, he says in the following months, Combs booked him at 2 more times in Las Vegas. And he also says that each time he showed up, he didn't know it was going to be Combs until he got there. And that each time, Combs had a different woman with him. A little side note here. If this was done through agencies, you do have to wonder if they have any form of invoices or receipts or some form of documentation to prove these engagements took place and to back up John Doe's story. Although, would this documentation even say it was Combs? No, because according to John Doe, it was all anonymous. But if he could say, look, I remember in or around these dates, and they have receipts of in or around those dates, that could be something. Also, by the way, as we go through this, one more thing struck me. In Sean Combs' recent amended indictment that we covered here on Sidebar, the prosecutors say his alleged criminal enterprise in that case, it now goes back to 2004. And they expanded alleged criminal activities that make up sex trafficking and racketeering from just the freak-offs, which we've talked about extensively, to more generally the way they've described it was commercial sex acts, including with male sex workers. And now there are at least 3 alleged victims in the criminal case who are part of the charge of transportation to engage in prostitution. So all of this to say, again, we don't know for sure if John Doe here is potentially a part of the criminal case, but based on his allegations, based on, a 5-year time span, he's talking about from 2007 to 2012, it matches up with what we're hearing in the criminal case. So could he potentially be a witness to all this? It's consistent. We don't know. We shall see. Moving on. The complaint reads, on these additional engagements through plaintiff's agencies, Combs offered plaintiff beverages, which plaintiff consumed. Combs also asked plaintiff to apply baby oil to plaintiff's skin during the performances, which plaintiff did. After applying the baby oil, plaintiff became unusually sleepy, disoriented, confused, exhausted, drowsy, weak, sluggish, numb, and alarmed by the sensation of being trapped in his own body. Plaintiff felt a heavy sensation behind his eyes and felt that moving his body became more difficult and exhausting. So first of all, baby oil, lubricant, very reminiscent of what's being alleged in Sean Combs' criminal case and other lawsuits as well about potential drugging. But also the baby oil, this is important. I remember in another lawsuit filed by a different John Doe from last year, there was a claim in that case that Combs had laced baby oil with the date rape drug GHB. Now, this complaint continues. While plaintiff was in this disoriented state, Combs instructed him to perform acts that were outside the scope of the agreed upon performance and limitations set by plaintiff and his agency. Combs instructed plaintiff to engage in acts such as pleasuring himself while Combs and the women engaged in sexual intercourse. Plaintiff, left in an incapacitated state after applying the baby oil to his skin, found himself mentally and physically unable to resist or express his discomfort, leading to his unwilling compliance with Combs' demands, essentially meaning he...
Come on, man. Are y'all feeling this? How many cases with this baby oil bull that you need to see? How many you need to see to realize that something is up with this baby oil? Something got to be up with this baby oil when you got 1,000 bottles of it. Who has 1,000 bottles of baby oil if it ain't nothing wrong with the baby oil? I prefer to have 1,000 bottles of Red Horse. 1,000 bottles of Red Horse, honey. Forget the baby oil. People have already said over and over again, to be honest, I think about 5 to 10 people that said that he threw this baby oil on me, told me to massage with this baby oil. Everybody lying about the baby oil. Is that what you telling me? That's what you telling me. I'm sorry, Puffy. There should be a thing in law proving you're guilty before you proven whatever the hell that bull. I don't even want to hurt. I don't want to hear this bull. The only thing I know is so many people have said the same thing, my guy. You need to stay behind bars a little longer than anticipated. Just for the people, 120 people, just for them people. Let's keep going, man.
Baby oil to his skin, found himself mentally and physically unable to resist or express his discomfort, leading to his unwilling compliance with Combs' demands, essentially meaning he didn't consent to any of this. Once the intoxicating effects of the substances have subsided, plaintiff felt a deep sense of humiliation and shame for being coerced into such acts. Obviously, this is horrific. This is disturbing. However, a defense argument would be, you file this lawsuit in February of 2025. How come you come forward now? How come you allowed this to happen to you for 5 years? We'll get to that part too. But the counter argument would be, this really did happen to me. And my experience, it just happens to be consistent and the same pattern as alleged by other alleged victims in other lawsuits. Now, going back to the suit, the story does not end there. So John Doe claims that around the third time he was booked by Combs, Combs allegedly asked John Doe to stop working with the agencies and work for him directly. But John Doe claims he told Combs he was having financial troubles and then he needed the agency work, but that his real hope was to become a musical artist. And that is where things take another turn, according to him. Quote, upon learning that plaintiff was an aspiring musician, Combs offered to listen to plaintiff's music and expressed a willingness to help him advance his music career. Combs made statements such as, I can make you a millionaire overnight, and I can change your life in a second. Combs specified that he would give plaintiff $1 million for each song plaintiff wrote for him. So John Doe claims he was, not surprisingly, excited for what could be a, quote, tremendous opportunity, gave Combs his phone number. Now again, it's interesting that if you take this timeline as true, after everything that Combs allegedly did to him, to now get even closer to him, again, that could be a problem for this case, but we continue. But from there, John Doe claims that Combs invited to meet several times, offering to listen to John Doe's music, traveling to Las Vegas, New York City, LA, Miami. And he said that Combs paid for and arranged travel and hotels through Bad Boy Records. By the way, important because if you're talking about sex trafficking, it seems to be suggesting that he's using company resources to move someone across state lines to sexually abuse. We'll get to that in a minute. But he says that Combs would pat him down, take his phone, and then this is really crazy. So he claims that Sean Combs had a gun on him, either on him or somewhere in the room. And John Doe said that this made him afraid. So if you're talking about sex trafficking, forcing someone through, threats, force, fraud, coercion to engage in commercial sex acts, having a gun or a weapon nearby, that can be a key piece of evidence. But here's again, I have to emphasize this. A counter argument would be, why did you keep coming back? If you claim that Combs drugged you, you see him with a gun now, you should have stopped meeting him, right? How are you a credible witness? The idea would be dangling opportunities, his power, his influence, that can all be a level of control and manipulation in sex trafficking cases. Keep that in mind. Let's continue. John Doe claims, essentially, that Combs faked his actual interest in his musical talent and made these apparent promises of helping his career and how he could change lives, even saying how John Doe could be his manager. Again, dangling opportunities, dangling promises. This is something that was very consistent in other sex trafficking claims against Sean Combs. But according to him, all of this wasn't real. According to him, Sean Combs wasn't interested. According to John Doe, Combs would quickly move the conversation to, hey, perform a strip show for me. And John Doe claims Combs even said things like, aren't we friends now? And according to John Doe, he claims during these strip shows, and I'm sorry to get into this, that men and or women would be present. He was required to get undressed. That Combs would allegedly barricade everybody in the room while all of this was going on. Again, he claims Combs had a gun with him, meaning he felt trapped and in fear. He again says he was forced to apply baby oil to his own body. He would feel drowsy, lethargic, weak, numb. He claims he even stumbled over furniture. He was disoriented. He claims Combs would keep pushing the baby oil on him, saying things like, you're getting a little dull. Rub some more baby oil on yourself. And John Doe alleges that if he didn't do this, Combs would become angry. He even allegedly squirted the baby oil on him. And he says that Combs forced him to drink unknown substances and take pills, even allegedly sipped Viagra into his drink. All incredibly disturbing allegations. And then there's this. John Doe claims that while he was in this drowsy and confused state, John Doe claims, and this is very important for the sex trafficking component, very important if we're talking about his possible participation in the criminal case, that Combs ordered him to pleasure himself and engage in sexual activities with the women. And I'm sorry to get graphic here, but he alleges that Combs literally groped his genitals, his private area, including literally physically forcing him to have sex. I'm not going to get more specific here. If you want to read the complaint, you can. But I will say this. John Doe even alleges that Combs got up close and personal as the sexual encounters were happening to make sure that John Doe and a woman were in fact engaging in sex, that he got up close and personal, that he directed these sex acts. I mean, he got very, very specific. And he said these encounters lasted a long time, sometimes more than 18 hours at a time. Remember the allegation talking about freak-offs? These were prolonged sexual episodes. So now John Doe claims that he tried to say, hey, look, this is not my job. I strip, I dance. I don't want to engage in sex acts. But again, he said if he didn't do what Combs wanted, if he didn't drink what Combs gave him, if he didn't apply the baby oil, Combs became enraged. He threw things. He threw his fists at John Doe. And he alleges that he believes that he was raped by Combs. And he doesn't quite remember what happened because he would wake up allegedly in this disoriented state after being what he thinks drugged. But he believes he was raped. And this is also interesting when we're talking about sex trafficking and the other claims in this lawsuit.
What about the ones that's not, no matter what, you know what? I was down with this stuff. I was young. I liked the baby oil, whatever. I liked it. I'm down with it. You know what I'm saying? What about these people? He got me too, but I ain't trying to come forward. Because I kind of liked it. It got to be at least 10 or 20 of those. These are the people brave enough to come forward. I'm going to let you know, man, I think beyond a reasonable doubt, I feel sorry for him, Ellen DeGeneres. I feel sorry for Steve Harvey. I feel sorry for Jay-Z. I feel sorry for, it's a slew of them that I think they ain't got no leg to stand on. The boy that does You Got Punked, what's the guy named You Got Punked? I feel sorry for him and all the bull that he doing. TD Jakes, all of them can kiss my tail. I would just forget having a court hearing. Forget having a court hearing. Just put them all on the smallest island you can find. Leave them there. Just standing room only, all of them. Just standing up on the one island. No food, no nothing. That's right, I said it.
He claims that many times he was consistently underpaid by Combs, but on the occasions when he woke up thinking that he was raped by Combs, he claims he was paid a substantially larger amount of money. But this takes another turn. John Doe also claims that he discovered a hidden camera and that Combs admitted to him that he recorded him engaging in sexual activity and threatened to release the tapes if John Doe didn't do what he wanted. That Combs allegedly made statements such as, I can change your life in a second and make you a millionaire overnight, but I have means and ways of taking care of things. He also alleged that Combs threatened him on other occasions, saying things like, I can make you disappear and things aren't going to get better for you. And he said that this pattern happened for the next several years where Combs or his associates, that's why you're seeing other unnamed people being sued in this lawsuit, that they would schedule these meetings. And these meetings would often coincide with Combs' appearances at major events like performances, presentations, award shows. And John Doe essentially claims that he felt like he had no choice, even feeling like he was forced to send photos of his privates to Sean Combs. So when you're seeing the allegation that Sean Combs had other people and using his businesses to engage in what is essentially illegal conduct or allegedly illegal conduct, again, that goes into that whole racketeering case as part of the criminal case. But again, we do not know if John Doe is a part of that criminal case, but just keeping that in mind. Now, this is how, according to John Doe, the relationship ended between him and Sean Combs. Quote, in or around 2010, after years of Combs instilling fear in plaintiff, misleading plaintiff, and manipulating him with promises that never materialized, It finally became clear to plaintiff that Combs had no intention of supporting plaintiff's career. At this point, plaintiff realized he needed to find a way to escape Combs' manipulation and abuse. During the next 2 years, plaintiff made repeated attempts to distance himself from Combs. Each time they spoke on the phone, plaintiff experienced intense anxiety with his heart racing, yet Combs refused to accept no for an answer. Combs used threats to exert control, warning plaintiff, "You're not loyal. Who are you going to tell about all of this? Don't forget, I have tapes of you." Plaintiff found himself trapped in an abusive cycle from which he felt he could not escape. Plaintiff's last encounter with Combs was in or around November 2012, close to the time that plaintiff got married. Plaintiff hoped that his marriage would serve as a boundary that Combs would respect. Yet, Combs continued to call persistently for months, pressuring plaintiff to return. John Doe claims he wanted to come forward about all of this sooner, but he was very scared that he and his family would be harmed. An important part in any litigation where someone is claiming that they were abused years prior is, why didn't you come forward sooner? So that's a question that plaintiff will face. But John Doe explains in this complaint that when 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦, Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend, filed that initial lawsuit back in November of 2023, and then you saw all of these other lawsuits follow, that's when, according to John Doe, quote, he gathered the courage to begin searching for legal representation, but he continued to fear the consequences of bringing his own lawsuit against Combs. And then listen to this. He claims on October 3rd, 2024, so this is after Combs was arrested in New York and indicted on federal charges, John Doe claims, quote, an individual representing Combs reached out to plaintiff to insist on an in-person meeting, further intensifying plaintiff's fear for his safety. But Combs' recent arrest and the subsequent denials of his bail applications provided plaintiff with a small measure of comfort and protection, conferring on him newfound confidence that Combs would remain incarcerated and thus be less likely to release the videotapes or otherwise harm him. By the way, that argument, as we've already seen, is why you're seeing a lot more lawsuits coming out against Sean Combs after his arrest, his indictment, after he had been denied bail, that people feel safe to come forward. Again, these are allegations. They're not true. These are allegations. We'll have to see if they can be proven. But again, this can be used as a justification for why they are filing their lawsuits now. It's at least an argument that will be put forward. Now, also, I have to say that this last part about someone allegedly reaching out to him is interesting, considering prosecutors have alleged that Combs and his associates may have been reaching out to potential witnesses and alleged victims. So again, is he cooperating? We don't know, but interesting to say the least. In terms of damages, what he suffered, he says he believes that he suffered pneumonia, that he coughed up blood because of the alleged drugs that he was given by Combs, that he has suffered severe emotional and psychological trauma, and this whole situation, he claims, torpedoed his dreams and music, that he no longer has the love for it because of what Sean Combs allegedly did to him. Legal point there, that becomes very important in a damages analysis. Lost opportunity, lost wages. So now I want to get to the causes of action. What's he suing for? So first, we have violation of the New York Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, which provides a look-back window for victims of abuse to sue. He argues that the alleged assault, the physical assault, the threats, and false imprisonment are all crimes of violence that were motivated because he is a man, particularly Combs allegedly groping.
I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta back up. Lost wages is you can't sue for lost wages. I'm sorry, that happened like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, should I stop it? This is sidebar. Should I stop it or should I? Facts. It's facts. Sometimes Uncle Mike gotta give you the real facts. You can't sue for no lost wages. What the hell is you talking about?
No, but interesting to say the least. In terms of damages, what he suffered, he says he believes that he suffered pneumonia, that he coughed up blood because of the alleged drugs that he was given by Combs, that he has suffered severe emotional and psychological trauma, and this whole situation, he claims, torpedoed his dreams and music, that he no longer has the love for it because of what Sean Combs allegedly did to him.
Facts.
Legal point there, that becomes very important in a damages analysis. Lost opportunity, lost wages.
Lost opportunities, but not lost wages. Not lost wages. Just because you have talent, you cannot sue for lost wages. What wages? Just because you can play a guitar or you can't sue for anything you never had? What are you talking about? Sidebar? You cannot sue for. if that the case, hell, I need to sue for lost wages. I could have made more money on YouTube if they ain't trimmed down my videos. I don't understand this lost wages part, man. Not my bad. That's my bad.
Longer has the love for it because of what Sean Combs allegedly did to him. Legal point there, that becomes very important in a damages analysis. Lost opportunity, lost wages. So now I want to get to the causes of action. What's he suing for? So first we have violation of the New York Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, which provides a look-back window for victims of abuse to sue. He argues that the alleged assault, the physical assault, the threats, and false imprisonment are all crimes of violence that were motivated because he is a man, particularly Combs allegedly groping his genitals. By the way, this cause of action, the other ones, they're not only against Combs, but they're against the corporate entities too. So the idea being that they enabled or facilitated Sean Combs, their owners' alleged bad behavior, that they benefited by keeping Sean Combs happy and satisfied. That's how you go after the corporate entities. Second cause of action, the federal statute of forced labor, namely being forced to perform this sexual activity through threats and coercion. Third, violation of a New York State human trafficking law. So that's essentially forcing John Doe to engage in labor by causing him to believe he would be injured or killed. Throwing the objects, the threats, the gun, that can all be used here. It can also be forced labor out of fear that a secret will be revealed. So you have to imagine the alleged videotapes of the sexual activity plays a part here. Fourth is the federal sex trafficking statute. The idea here is that Sean Combs, an international superstar, enticed John Doe into believing that he would help his career, made him false promises, but only really used aggression, threats, and intimidation to force John Doe to engage in sex acts for money, i.e. commercial sex acts. See, that's the same thing on the federal criminal level in the Sean Combs criminal case, that idea there. Fifth is a California human trafficking law, which reads, defendant Sean Combs perpetrated human trafficking of plaintiff by depriving or violating his personal liberty with the intent to obtain forced labor. By the way, there's also some discussion in there about the statute of limitations, and in response to any argument that the claim is time barred, John Doe makes the argument that you have to suspend the running of the statute of limitations because essentially he claims he didn't realize what exactly happened to him until much later on, particularly because he claims he was traumatized. The sixth cause of action, you have sexual battery under California law. So that's Combs allegedly grabbing John Doe's genitals, raping him. Seventh is assault under New York law, which is when Combs allegedly put John Doe in reasonable fear of suffering or harm. Eighth is battery, sexual battery under New York law. So that's the alleged unwanted touching. Ninth is sexual battery under Nevada law. So that's Combs allegedly repeatedly touching John Doe's genitals without consent. 10th is false imprisonment for allegedly trapping John Doe in hotel rooms for hours at a time. The 11th cause of action is false imprisonment under California law, similar to New York. 12th is intentional infliction of emotional distress under both California and New York law. The allegation being that all of Combs' conduct that I described before was extreme and outrageous, and that Combs knew or should have known that what he was allegedly doing would cause significant emotional harm to John Doe. The 13th cause of action is invasion of privacy under California law. So that pertains to the alleged secret recordings of John Doe engaging in sexual activity. 14 is an intrusion claim under New York, basically the same thing as invasion of privacy. The 15th is breach of contract. So that allegation is that Combs and John Doe agreed that John Doe would perform services for a specified hourly rate, but Combs refused to pay him the full number of hours that John Doe worked. 16 is something called 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦, going back to my law school days with that term, and unjust enrichment. Basic idea here is that for 5 years, John Doe provided entertainment services to Sean Combs. Sean Combs accepted this benefit, retained it, but didn't pay the full amount due. So John Doe is looking for all sorts of damages, attorney's fees, costs, so forth. He's requesting a jury trial. And look, this is an incredibly disturbing lawsuit, particularly if you read some of the graphic details that I didn't get into. But the main questions become, was this consensual? How can he prove these events occurred? If there are videotapes, and that can be discovered during the course of this litigation, Will it corroborate what he says happened to him? Will you see that level of force and coercion? Will you see a gun? Will you be able to see that John Doe had no idea that he was being filmed? Obviously, this will all come down to his testimony. But what about the other alleged participants? Will they be required to testify as well? We shall see. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
Man, this is, what did it say, 16, I lost count. 16, 17 counts of bullshit. Look here, man. I'm gonna get on 17 counts of bullshit. What? Puffy, I'm trying to tell you, man, I'm so pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at the fact that we haven't had a court hearing, right? Haven't had a court hearing. Haven't had a judge. Haven't been tried. None of this. I'm calculating about 150 people saying that you put baby oil on them that's laced with horse tranquilizer. How are you caught up in all this bull? How are you caught up in all this bull? And I used to analyze you, man. You know what I feel right now? I feel like I need to spend the rest of my life helping these people get justice. Bad Boy was a record label, hip hop record label. I love hip hop. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Puffy, Suge Knight. Y'all had y'all little problems, and rest in peace to Tupac, rest in peace to Biggie, but we all love what y'all bought. We didn't know that people ordering hits and all this bullshit. What the hell? Think about it, y'all. I'm pissed off over this, man. I drove up to New York on several occasions to be a part of Bad Boy, hoping to get a glimpse of anybody. Faith Evans. I was on tour with Faith Evans. Shit, man. I couldn't sleep before the tour, before the shows. Whitney Houston. My bad, y'all. That's the liquor. Not Whitney Houston. Faith Evans. Mickey Howard. My bad, I'm old, y'all. I was on tour with Mickey Howard, Christopher Williams. If you had a big name, period. Tanya Blunt. Tanya Blunt was signed to Bad Boy. Tanya Blunt was signed to Bad Boy. That's my peoples. Fuck out of here, man. Look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here. I'm pissed off over this, man. Puffy, you got some explaining to do. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.